It is a funny thing, isn't it? We spend so much of our time and energy searching for the next best thing to help our gardens flourish. We look at colorful bottles and bags in the garden center, all promising miracles for our plants. Yet sometimes the most magical ingredients are the ones we have been throwing away all along. I am talking about wood ash, that soft gray powder left behind after a cozy evening by the fireplace or a bonfire at the end of autumn. For many, it is simply waste to be swept up and discarded without a second thought. But for a gardener, it is something far more precious. It is a gift from the trees, a concentrated dose of the very minerals they drew from the earth. Think about the life of a tree. It spends decades, sometimes centuries, pulling nutrients up from deep within the soil. These minerals are stored in its trunk, its branches, and its leaves. When that wood is burned, the organic matter disappears as smoke and gas, but the essential minerals remain behind, transformed into a fine, potent powder. This is wood ash. It is the very essence of the tree's strength, a sort of mineral skeleton, ready to be returned to the soil from whence it came. Discarding it is like throwing away a perfectly good bag of fertilizer. It is a missed opportunity, a break in the beautiful natural cycle of give and take that defines a healthy garden. For generations, gardeners and farmers understood this simple truth. They didn't have access to modern chemical fertilizers, so they relied on what nature provided. Wood ash was a key part of their toolkit, a known and trusted friend to the soil. They used it to sweeten sour soil, to give their vegetables a boost, and to keep hungry pests at bay. Somewhere along the way, in our rush for convenient, modern solutions, we forgot this old wisdom. We started seeing ash as a mess to be cleaned up, rather than a resource to be carefully collected and used. It is high time we rediscovered this simple, powerful, and completely free tool. My own journey with wood ash began years ago, almost by accident. After clearing up the remnants of a large bonfire, I was left with a barrow full of the stuff. It seemed a terrible shame to just throw it on the compost heap in one big clump. I remembered reading something about its benefits, so I decided to experiment. I lightly scattered it around my brassicas and over the bed where I planned to plant my beans. The results were not immediate, but over the weeks that followed, I noticed a distinct difference. The plants seemed healthier, more robust, and less troubled by the usual pests. It was a simple observation, but it was the start of a long and fruitful relationship with this humble gray powder. So, what is the secret locked within this unassuming gray dust? The magic of wood ash lies in its rich mineral content. Its most significant component is calcium carbonate, which makes up a large portion of its volume. This is essentially the same compound found in garden lime. Calcium is absolutely vital for plants. It helps to build strong cell walls, which means sturdier stems, healthier leaves, and a plant that is better able to stand up to wind, rain, and the nibbles of passing pests. It's like giving your plants a stronger skeleton, allowing them to grow bigger and more resilient in every way. Without enough calcium, plants can suffer from stunted growth and various disorders. But the benefits do not stop with calcium. Wood ash is also a fantastic source of potassium, or potash, as it is often called. In fact, the very word potash comes from the old practice of leaching potassium from wood ash in a pot. Potassium is one of the three major nutrients all plants need, alongside nitrogen and phosphorus. It plays a crucial role in almost every aspect of a plant's life. It helps regulate water movement, aids in photosynthesis, and is essential for the production of flowers and fruit. If you notice your tomatoes are not setting fruit well, or your roses are a bit lackluster, a lack of potassium could be the culprit. A light dusting of wood ash provides this vital nutrient in a form plants can readily absorb. Beyond the major players, wood ash contains a whole host of other important trace minerals. Think of it as a multivitamin for your soil. Depending on the type of wood that was burned, you will find elements like magnesium, iron, manganese, and zinc. While plants only need these in tiny amounts, their absence can cause serious problems. Magnesium, for example, is a central component of chlorophyll, the green pigment that allows plants to capture sunlight. A deficiency can lead to yellowing leaves and poor growth. By adding wood ash, you are replenishing this diverse pantry of micronutrients, ensuring your plants have everything they need for optimal health and vibrant growth. It is important to understand what wood ash does not provide. It contains virtually no nitrogen, as this is lost as a gas during the burning process. This is not a bad thing. It simply means wood ash is not a complete all-purpose fertilizer. You wouldn't use it on its own to feed heavy-feeding plants like cabbages or courgettes throughout the season. Instead, you should see it as a soil conditioner and a specific nutrient booster. It works best as part of a wider soil health strategy, complementing nitrogen-rich additions like well-rotted manure, garden compost, or a green manure crop. It fills a specific, vital role in creating a balanced and fertile soil. One of the most pleasing aspects of using wood ash is its dual-action nature. It not only feeds the plants, but also helps to protect them from a range of common garden nuisances. This protective quality comes from its physical texture and its alkaline properties. Slugs and snails, the bane of many a gardener's life, detest moving across a dry, abrasive surface. A circle of wood ash laid on the soil around the base of a vulnerable plant, like a tender hosta or a young lettuce, creates a barrier that these soft-bodied pests are very reluctant to cross. It is a simple, non-toxic line of defense that can make all the difference, especially on damp evenings when they are most active. This alkalinity is also key to another of wood ash's great benefits, its ability to sweeten the soil. Most vegetables and flowers prefer a soil that is neutral or slightly alkaline, with a pH between 6.5 and 7.5. However, in many regions, particularly those with high rainfall, soils have a tendency to become acidic over time. Acidic soil can lock up essential nutrients, making them unavailable to plant roots, no matter how much fertilizer you add. Because wood ash is highly alkaline, applying it to the soil raises the pH, counteracting this acidity. This process unlocks those trapped nutrients, making them accessible to your plants once more, and creating a much healthier environment for root growth. This change in soil pH also has a beneficial effect on preventing certain diseases. One of the most common problems for anyone growing cabbages, broccoli, or other brassicas is a nasty soil-borne disease called clubroot. This fungus thrives in acidic, damp conditions, causing the roots to become swollen and distorted, which starves the plant of water and nutrients. By raising the soil pH with an application of wood ash in the autumn or winter before planting, you make the soil environment far less hospitable for the clubroot fungus. It is a brilliant example of preventative gardening, using a simple natural material to stop a problem before it even has a chance to start. Therefore, when you apply wood ash, you are doing much more than just adding food. You are performing a kind of holistic therapy for your garden patch. You are adjusting the fundamental chemistry of the soil to create a more favorable environment for the plants you want to grow. You are simultaneously making it a less favorable environment for the pests and diseases that want to harm them. This is the essence of good organic gardening, working with natural systems to foster a balance where healthy plants can thrive on their own terms without the need for constant chemical intervention. The ash acts as both a tonic and a shield, strengthening from within while protecting from without. Putting ash to work in your garden is honestly wonderfully simple, but a little care and knowledge really do go a long way. The most common method is to apply it directly to your soil. And the best time to do this is in winter, after you've cleared your vegetable beds. Just take your collected ash and lightly sieve or scatter it over the surface of the soil. Use a rake to gently work it into the top few inches. A good rule of thumb is to apply about 50 to 70 grams per square meter, which is roughly 1 or 2 generous handfuls. You don't want to create a thick gray blanket, just a light, even dusting. The winter rains will then wash it down into the soil, allowing it to work its magic over the months before spring planting. For pest control, the application is a bit more targeted. To create a barrier against slugs and snails, wait for a dry day and draw a continuous circle of ash on the soil, about an inch or 2 wide, all the way around the base of the plant you wish to protect. Be careful not to let the ash touch the stem of the plant directly. Just remember, this barrier is only effective when it is dry. After a spell of rain, you'll need to reapply it. This makes it a perfect solution for protecting young seedlings in the greenhouse or during a dry spell, when pests can be particularly troublesome. It's a simple, daily chore that can save your precious plants from being devoured overnight. Wood ash can also be a valuable addition to your compost heap, but it must be done with care. Since it's so alkaline, adding too much at once can disrupt the composting process and harm the worms and microorganisms that are working so hard in there. The best approach is to add it in thin layers. Every time you add a thick layer of acidic material, like fruit scraps or grass clippings, sprinkle a very light dusting of ash on top. This helps to balance the pH of the heap, reduces odors, and enriches the final compost with all those wonderful minerals. Never dump a whole bucket of ash into your compost bin in one go. Slow and steady is the key. Finally, you can even use wood ash to make a foliar spray, which can help deter chewing insects and provide a quick nutrient boost. To do this, take about 1 cup of wood ash and place it in a cloth bag or an old stocking. Suspend this bag in a bucket containing about 5 liters of water and leave it to steep for a few days, giving it a stir now and then. The water will absorb the soluble nutrients from the ash. Afterwards, you can dilute this ash tea with more water at a 1-to-1 ratio and spray it directly onto the leaves of your plants. It can be especially effective against aphids and powdery mildew on plants like roses and squash. It is absolutely crucial that you only ever use ash from clean, untreated wood. This means ash from logs burned in your fireplace, from pruning offcuts, or from a bonfire of garden waste is perfect. However, you must never ever use ash from wood that has been painted, stained, pressure-treated, or glued, such as MDF or chipboard. These materials contain a cocktail of harmful chemicals, including heavy metals, which will be concentrated in the ash. Adding this to your garden would be like adding poison to your soil, contaminating your vegetables and harming the delicate ecosystem you are trying to nurture. Always be certain of your source. When in doubt, leave it out. Now for a little secret I've learned over the years. While wood ash is fantastic on its own, you can, honestly, elevate its power by combining it with other common kitchen scraps. 2 of my favorites are banana peels and used coffee grounds. Banana peels are incredibly rich in potassium, just like the ash. If you chop them up and bury them in a planting hole with a small sprinkle of ash, you give your fruiting plants like tomatoes and peppers an incredible start. Coffee grounds, on the other hand, are slightly acidic and a great source of nitrogen. Mixing them with alkaline wood ash creates a more balanced, slow-release fertilizer that is wonderful for leafy greens and hungry plants. In my own garden at Longmeadow, I've seen the results firsthand. A few years ago, my gooseberry bushes were struggling with sawfly and a touch of mildew. I began a winter regimen of dusting the soil beneath them with ash and repeating the process in early spring. The following season, the plants were visibly healthier, the foliage was more robust, and the sawfly problem was drastically reduced. I also make a point of adding a dusting of ash to my onion and leek beds a few weeks before planting. It helps to deter onion fly and gives them the potassium they need for strong bulb and stem development, resulting in a much better harvest. So I encourage you to give it a try. Don't let this wonderful resource go to waste. Start collecting the ash from your fireplace in a metal bucket. Use it sparingly, use it wisely, and watch how your garden responds. Start with a small patch, perhaps around your beans or potatoes, and see the difference for yourself. Nature often provides the most elegant solutions, and they are frequently the simplest. By returning wood ash to the soil, you are not just feeding your plants, you are closing a loop, participating in a timeless cycle of growth, decay, and rebirth. It is a small act, but it is one that connects us more deeply to the rhythms of the garden. Do share your own stories of success. We gardeners learn best from each other.